You know, one of the first things I wanted to tell you guys, man, what up, Too Tall? One of the first things I wanted to tell you guys, man, is I'm walking around in northern China. I'm in a city called Tangshan. One of the first things that comes to mind is Hufflepuff and Penny, thank you, is just how tough it is to be living in northern China now. Thank you, Penny. And what I mean by that is, like, so much of the economy, so much of the GDP has now shifted south in China. When you come out to these northern cities, man, even on like a Tuesday morning, there should be a lot of cars in the streets. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, John. Thank you, Bubba, for that comment. There should be a lot of cars on the road, but this place is just quiet. Now, last night we had a big live stream. There was a lot of people watching. It was early morning in the USA time. There was a lot of people who tuned in. We had over 2,500 people online at any given time. And I think me and the audience, thank you, John Joy. I think we were, Joe Joy, I think we were all struck by just how quiet this city is. We're gonna do quite a bit of walking today. Today's a typical city walk. I'm also going, it's not, thank you, Joe Joy, thank you, Jackie. It's not without purpose. We're going somewhere. I'm gonna show you guys as much of the city as possible. But this is called the city of Tangshan. Thank you, Joe Joy. It is a northern Chinese city here in Hebei province. Thank you, John Joy. What up, everybody? What is up, everybody? I'm gonna explain a little bit about the recent history of this city, why I decided to come here. Very important that I'm here. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Melachupa. Great to see everyone. Let's go ahead and let me dig into the history of this city a little bit for a lot of folks who weren't watching on Monday morning. It was so early when I went live. Most of you guys missed it, especially on the West Coast. Let me explain a little bit about the significance of this city. Thank you, Nessie and Kristen. Thank you. Now, we're walking in a city called Tangshan. In 1976, I had to remind the audience again and again, because when I was a kid growing up in China, I had never been to this city before, Tangshan. Thank you, La. Thank you, Kristen. But I heard of it. I've heard of this city ever since I was a kid, and it's because of a great tragedy that happened here in 1976, the Great Tangshan earthquake. It was a devastating earthquake that destroyed the entire city. I used this analogy last night in my live stream. Thank you, John. Hello, Peaceful. Great to see everybody. The live stream is just getting started. We're walking around in downtown Tangshan. We're just getting the live stream started, everybody. So if you came in, follow the channel. Thank you, Y2, and share this live stream. Thank you, Shelly B. Great to see everybody. We're just getting started. I kind of have to give you guys a rundown of what was going on yesterday. Thank you, Terry and Y2, because this is very important. Hear me out on this. This is for all the Americans back home. I have to ask you guys this once again, because most of you guys were not on the stream. When you guys think of Oklahoma City back home in America, Oklahoma City, because some of my viewers are actually living in Oklahoma. When you guys think about Oklahoma City back home in America, what do you guys think of? What comes to mind when you think of Oklahoma City? Tornadoes. You said the bombing. Tornadoes. You see a lot of people said the bombing, right? Tornado. You see, look at these answers. Look at these answers, right? Look at these answers. You see that? The boom, like the thunder. Those of you old enough to remember, see, I don't know if Oliver knows what the hell I'm talking about. The tornadoes, Russell Westbrook, Wild West. Okay, but a lot of people says April 19th, 1995, right? A lot of you guys, when you think about Oklahoma City, you guys still remember Timothy McVeigh and Nichols when they blew up a federal building, right? That is unfortunately what a lot of people know Oklahoma City from. It's not a large city by American standards. It's not a Los Angeles. It's not a Houston. Many people know this city from a tragic event that happened in 1995. Okay? Event that happened in 1995. Okay? Tangshan City has a similar vibe, in my view, from so many people of my father's generation, of the 90s generation where I was born. Tangshan is similar to Oklahoma City in the sense that it's known for the 1976 earthquake. 1976, it happened in August, so we're coming up on 48 years. Actually, it's been 48 years. So this city, ever since I was a kid, even though I had never been here before, I had never been to northern China before, thank you, Pepper, before I went to go visit my father's hometown, every schoolboy, every schoolgirl knows the city of Tangshan because we were taught about the earthquake in school. So this is one of those places where it's almost as if you think about like a place that was struck by great disaster. Thank you, Big D. Thank you, Pepper. Like a Fukushima, like a Pompeii. This is it. So everywhere that you see today was built after 1976. Thank you, Mr. Ben and Apollo. This city was completely rebuilt from the ground up after 1976. It was completely devastated. We're only a couple hours away from Beijing, the capital. But this is what the city is known for, first and foremost, is unfortunately the earthquake from 1976. Now, one of the things that I've kind of realized as I'm walking around in Tangshan, and pretty much in Hebei in general, but especially here, you walk on the sidewalk over here, is just how quiet northern China has become. What do I mean by that? It's like, it feels very industrial. It feels very, very quiet. Not a lot of people on the streets. I know it's a Tuesday, okay? But it's like, it just doesn't have the same vibe as southern China. Thank you, Anya, and thank you, Darren. A lot of people may say, well, why is that? This is a super important concept as we're walking down the street, because we're going to see a lot of things today. But I want you guys to pay attention. I want you guys to pay attention to everything that you see. Because I'm going to step over here and show you guys a view from here. I want you guys to try to pay attention to everything that we see. Okay? Because what you're witnessing here today is really a big contrast when you guys have seen my live streams from southern China, from Guangzhou, from Shenzhen, from Changsha. You always see how populated, how crowded, how busy, how noisy, right? Well, today I want you to pay attention to what we're about to see. Okay? I want you to pay attention to what we're about to see today. So let's keep moving. Thank you, JK, for sharing this live stream. It's really important when you guys share this live stream. Please follow the channel and share. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and cross the street. Take you guys to some neighborhoods. Thank you, Hufflepuff. Please share this live stream, everybody. Good Monday evening. Happy Monday evening, everyone. Of course, there's no street lights here. There's a lot of these streets don't have street lights, so you could be really just free to walk around. As long as you don't get hit by a car. Thank you, Laura. We're gonna keep it moving. Thank you, Romeo. Great to see everybody back home in America. We're exploring a northern Chinese city called Tangshan. Thank you, MMC. We're gonna walk around and I'm gonna try to explain as much as what you're going to see here. Now, I want you guys to remember one thing as we walk down the street here. Thank you, Snoozy and Ronnie. Thank you, Green Eyed. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support, man. Pugs, of course. Thank you, Hako. I want you guys to appreciate one thing as we're walking around these neighborhoods here. When you guys look at northern Chinese cities like this, I want you to remember one important concept, which is that 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, these were some of the most prosperous areas in the entire Chinese country. Okay, these were extremely prosperous areas because, and the biggest reason is this: there were a lot of factories, large state-owned factories, a lot of mining, a lot of heavy industries that were here in northern China after the founding of New China in 1949. So what I mean by that is, like, once again, I used the same analogy last night. This place is like the Detroit. Thank you, Snuff Dipper. Thank you to Rio. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Great to see you, Snuff Dipper. This place is like the Detroit, Michigan the Gary, Indiana, it is like the Rust Belt back home in America. It's like the Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh. Thank you, Ni Hao Ma and Snuff Dipper and Lisa Ann. Great to see everybody. This is the Rust Belt, in my opinion, a part of the Rust Belt of northern China. Thank you, Nate and Lisa. Thank you, Nate and Lisa. Rust Belt of northern China. Thank you, Nate and Lisa Ann. Let me turn up my screen. All right. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Mr. E. Thank you, guys. Can y'all, okay, signal still good? All right. So a lot of folks who live in Indiana, who live in, how do I say this? If you guys live in Indiana, you live in Michigan, you live in Pennsylvania, I want you guys to think about, especially if you got some age on you, think about the prosperity and the industry that used to be in those areas 40, 50 years ago, and the vibrant communities as a result. Does that make sense? Thank you, Snuff Dipper. Great to see everybody. So many familiar names. And it's like when you come here, you can see remnants of what used to be great industries, great mining. Thank you, Anya and Stacy. Great big companies that used to be here 40 and 50 years ago. But now, as China has opened up in the last 45, 50 years, so much of the nation's economy has moved south to Shenzhen, to Guangzhou. So it's like if you go to places like Oliver's hometown in northern China, there used to be very large-scale factories. There used to be large sources of employment. Thank you, Cody. Now, a lot of those are a shell of its former self. So this is why when you walk around, this really, like you see, like this is a lot of, I love I don't even know what to say. Look at this vehicle right here. See, you got to be my generation to know this vehicle right here. Let me show you this vehicle right here. You guys see this vehicle right here? Y'all see this right here? Do any of you recognize this car? I know it's a Volkswagen. That's obvious. It's a Volkswagen. Do any of you guys recognize this vehicle here? Thank you, JK, for sharing this live stream. Please follow the channel and share this live stream like JK is doing. That is a Volkswagen Santana. In Chinese, it's called a Santana. That is a car from the 90s. This used to be a status symbol in the 90s, by the way. If you owned one of these in the 90s, man, you were doing well for yourself. That is a car from the 90s. You hardly see these on the roads anymore in southern China. But as I've been traveling around in northern China, I've actually seen a lot of these on the roads. So I walk around here, man. First of all, there's somewhere I'm supposed to be. But I'm gonna take a little detour. It's like, as you walk around here, man, like this is what we saw last night, but it was way too dark. And a lot of you guys weren't awake yet. I want you guys to just think about why it is these places were so vibrant and so, comparatively speaking, much more vibrant, much wealthier compared to other parts of like the Guizhou, the Yunnan. There's a lot of other places in China 50, 60 years ago. The reason is very simple, because it was in the north, it was close to the capital. Back then, Dongbei, northeast China, Manchuria was the major industrial center. So a lot of places like this had to mine materials from the ground in order to support the industries up north. So this is why, like, you look at all these communities over here. Once again, this is probably a more extreme time capsule than even my hometown. A lot of these buildings are far older than the homes that I grew up in. And the thing is, if you look at this right here, I don't think there's any plans in any time near in the future that they're gonna get rid of these buildings. Thank you, Typical Caliber. And the reason being is very simple. In order to get rid of everything that you see here and make new condominiums, you have to have demand. You have to have people that are buying apartments. You have to have an inflow of population. You have to have young people. You have to have people who are moving into this city. Thank you, Steve, and thank you guys. You have to have people that are coming in to the city in order to justify building a bunch of new homes. Does that make sense? But here in the city of Tangshan, thank you, iSerpentia, thank you, LQ, thank you, Snuff Dipper. Here in the city of Tangshan, a lot of these older neighborhoods, 30, 40 years old, you can see that one. That one is, I think that one is for sale. A lot of these neighborhoods are gonna stay the way they are for the foreseeable future, because this is not a city where you have a lot of people coming in. This is rather a city, in my opinion, that is losing people to southern China, to Beijing, to Tianjin. So we're gonna walk around, and I'm gonna try to show you as much of this northern industrial city as possible. But I just want you guys, especially to all the Americans who are watching back home, I want you to see the similarity, thank you Amy Coop, between what is happening here in this city with what has happened in the Michigans, the Indianas, and the Pennsylvanias of back home, where when economics moves to a different part of the country, what it does to the community that is still left behind. So I want you guys to pay attention to that as we walk around. Thank you, Stacy and Little Jane. By the way, it's no longer raining. Take all this in and think about what I showed you since the beginning of this trip when we were in Guangzhou, when we were in Changsha, right? Think about that. Try to contrast it with what you're about to see today, and we're gonna keep it moving. All right, a lot of quiet neighborhoods. Thank you, Amy Cool. I'm gonna try to read as many of y'all's comments as possible. Nice sunny day today. No more rain, thankfully. Let's keep it moving. All right, initial impressions of this city. Well, I wouldn't say we're downtown, but we're not too far away from it. What are some of your initial impressions, everybody? Please follow the channel and share this live stream like JK is doing. We're almost at 1,000 shares, y'all. Thank you, River. Initial impressions? Any adjectives, any initial impressions? Looks chill, clean, absolutely, very clean, very clean. Air quality is amazing. Blue skies, beautiful air quality, no smog, no pollution. Look at this. Look at the blue skies, beautiful air quality. Sunburn looking like a TV show. He said look like a TV show. Let's keep it moving. Looks nice. Everybody was clean. All right, now let's keep walking. Now, see, this is also another thing that kind of indicates I'm here to show, I'm not here to tell you what to think. You can think for yourself. These areas that we're walking through used to be vibrant markets. All these are shops, street-facing shops over here. You can see it's almost noon now. It's past 11 o'clock. Most of them are closed. So what do I mean when I walk down the street and I show you guys? It's just like it's going to underscore. It's really going to and this is going to and this you guys. It's just like it's going to underscore. It's really going to and this is as much coming from me as from like a gut reaction. It's like as I'm walking around here, is that as someone who's lived in Shenzhen for 5.5 years and now doing streaming and making history videos and being on the road every day, it's really starting to hit me just how far ahead southern China is getting compared to northern China, most cities in northern China. I mean, it is like, you would think that when we're walking through this alley, this street here, we may be in a rural area like a county. We're not. We're literally in town center, Tangshan. You can see a lot of these stores are closed. We're gonna keep walking. We're gonna do some more exploration. But the contrast between south and north is getting more and more apparent the more I travel. So let's keep moving. Please follow the channel and share this live stream, everybody. Please share this live stream. Let's keep it going. Now, there's actually one more thing I wanted to share with you guys, but about this city, what the city is known for, but I think I better swallow that and keep it to myself. Let's keep it moving, y'all. I'm just gonna tell you guys another story. Man, this is like, let's keep moving, everybody. This freaking, it's different. Thank you, Ham HB. Yes, please follow the channel. Thank you for the bracelets. Thank you, JK, for almost got 1,000. We got 1,000 shares, y'all. Very, very industrial looking, y'all. Thank you, Stacy, J-Lay. Thank you. Man. All right, let's keep walking. Let's keep walking, huh? All right. I think we've, thank you, Pam, and thank you for the roses. Dot, dot, dot. Let's keep walking. Thank you, Patty. All right, let me kind of explain a little bit more. Let me explain a little bit more, y'all. Man, I'm taken aback by this during the day, man. This is second largest city in Hebei province. It's like 10 million people in this city and the surrounding counties. I'm just taken aback by how industrial all this looks, and industrial is being nice. Thank you, Nana. Thank you. All right, let's just keep walking around. Let's keep exploring these neighborhoods a little bit, and then let's go to our next destination. Let's keep going, y'all. I'm trying to look at some of your comments. Yeah, oh, there's definitely no rat race over here. This is as quiet as it gets. Going, man. It's definitely not New York. It's definitely not Shanghai. Definitely not Beijing. Everything is just real quiet here. All right, you know what? Let me do a better job of exploring. Let's go deeper into this place and see what we have. Let me do a better job of exploring. Whip out my map. Going. Thank you, JK, for sharing. So look. These last few days, man, being in Hebei, I've been asking myself a very serious question, which is, and this goes for the Chinese people who are watching as well. Why is it that so many parts of northern China, so many cities of northern China, why is it that people are moving south here in China? And resulting in a lot of these cities here in the north, becoming quiet and older. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, y'all? I'm looking for y'all's comments, man. It's like, look at this. This is like the hot tub time machine I'm doing. Maine versus Florida. Big O said money. Like, I'm serious, man. Like, why is everybody moving south here in China, and then a lot of these northern, I don't understand this. I'm asking Americans, I'm asking Chinese people who are watching, because we got a lot of Chinese people who watch this as well. I'm really struck by this, man. This is real different. I'm gonna walk in here a little bit, and then we'll what's it called? And then we'll walk back onto that bridge, which will take me to the next place. Jobs. Jay said, this is bizarre. I know. I'm trying to look at some comments. Weather. That's where the money is. I think Oliver said money. Let's keep walking. All right, seems to be a little bit more life over here. Let's walk into this neighborhood. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Amuj, for moderating. You know, as I'm walking around here, it's not to say that there aren't wealthy people here. There's a lot of wealthy people who do live in Tangshan as well. There's a lot of wealthy folks who live here too. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, thank you, Jack. It's one of those things where it's like, it just, let me gather my thoughts for a second. Thank you, Nook E. Thank you. Let's keep moving, y'all. Let me just keep moving. The thoughts will come to me. I feel like I'm at a labor market or something. You know, it's like most of the people that I see in the streets are men. A lot of them look like they work blue-collar jobs. You know, so I feel like I'm near like maybe a construction site, a labor market or something. You see that? This is highly unusual because when you come out to a market like this, a lot of times you'll see head of the household, a lot of grandmas, a lot of women coming out here to do the shopping. But here at this place, most people I see are men. Interesting. Let's keep it moving, y'all. Let's just keep it moving. Kong said it looked a little bit like Thailand. You know, I need to stop being so sentimental and just walk and just explain. I feel like I'm trying to make too much about it. This is probably what just Tangshan is. It feels like. You know, it's like, look, another one right here. See this right here, man? This is the second one we run into. I don't think you guys realize the significance of this car right here, man. Like this right here was a status symbol from my childhood. Like, if you had a Santana in the 90s, you were somebody. You were somebody. You see that? Volkswagen Santana. This car meant you were somebody important if you owned this in the 90s. Like, say you work for a big company or you were a wealthy business person. And like, I have never seen this car before in Shenzhen, ever. But here in northern China, you see this car after 30 years, still going strong. Paint still looking new, still looks brand new. You know what I'm saying? Still, it looks absolutely brand new. Thank you, Kenneth. I've never seen that one before either, Kenneth, from the vault. Thank you. Ken just showed up out of nowhere. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you. Hey, Oliver, if you're still watching, Ken is the final boss. Ken is like the final boss. He just comes to the channel, blesses the channel. He's the final boss. Thank you, Ken. Along with, well, Pugs is like the everyday boss. He blesses the channel every day. Love this guy, man. I'm telling you, you guys got to go check out his channel, man. He did an interview on his channel. I watched the whole interview, and I'm trying to interview you, Ken. I'm trying to interview you, Ken. I would love to interview you. It's absolutely amazing. I watched the whole interview from beginning to end. It's amazing. Thank you. Anyway, but seriously though, like, I want you guys to appreciate this because Drake May, Carolina Blue. This car right here literally represents a bygone era from the 80s and 90s. Thank you, Stan, and thank you so much, Kenneth. Kenneth, we're walking around in downtown Tangshan, Pugs, everybody who's watching. Absolutely. This car right here, if you owned this in the 90s, you were a somebody. Thank you so much, Ken. We will. I'm telling you, I got to talk. I watched that whole interview. It was so interesting. And I thought about what you said in that interview a lot. I was laying in bed watching it, and I was thinking about it. The things that you said about the distribution of money, the things that you said about spreading love. I thought about it a lot actually watching that interview. Thank you, DS. Thank you, Snorlax. We got to get an interview. We got to get you on the channel on one of these interviews one of these days. Thank you, DS. So I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Ken. I know you can't stay for long, but I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Jenny, for subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's keep moving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's keep moving. Thank you, Jenny, for subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving, man. All right, now, when kind of messed up my train of thought here. He's always so generous to the channel, man. I'm just kind of messed up my train of thought. Let me get back on track, man. Thank you, Shastina. I saw Snorlax again. Just messed up my train of thought. Okay, let me get back on point. Thank you, Victoria. Let me get back on point. What you're looking at now, once again, the Rust Belt, what I call the beginning of the Rust Belt here in China. So similar, once again, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Michigan, Gary, Indiana. This is the Chinese version of that. Okay, so I want you guys to really remember this. In northern China, so similar to the American experience. So this is why, for all the Americans back home who are watching this, I think much talk has been made in the last 20 years. Thank you, Jay-Lay, thank you, Patty, about the unique American experience of losing jobs to Mexico or losing jobs to China. What I want you guys to understand as I walk through this neighborhood here is that it's not a unique American experience. Thank you, Green-Eyed. It's something that everywhere else in the world has to go through, including here in China, which supposedly, according to the people back home, the media will tell you, took our jobs. But if you look at the people that live here, a lot of these folks that live here, how do I say this, mate? Just look at this. It looks like literally I am in a scene from the 1990s. This looks like the 90s. If you get rid of even the cars look like they're from the 90s. Thank you, fam. So really, really important for y'all to understand as we begin our northern tour, deeper and deeper into Manchuria, into northern China. I want you guys to realize that we as Americans, we always like to say, oh man, they took our jobs. Mexico, China, they took our jobs. Thank you, Alex. It's not something that just happened to Americans. It happens here in China as well. The economy moves. It's moved from north to south. Thank you, Green-Eyed. It doesn't stay stagnant. Thank you, Green-Eyed. It doesn't stay stagnant. You see, just like that, Kenneth is gone. Just like that, Kenneth is gone, man. I think Kenneth just left. Did he say anything before he left? And I love this guy, man. This guy's like, Big O, you just saw that? I'm telling you, Big O, you've been missing for a while. I'm telling you, guys, this is an amazing, just like Pugs, the LBJs of the world, everybody, man, like, the true gods. I mean, this is the final boss right here. I'm telling you, without him, our channel wouldn't run. Without him, our channel wouldn't run. So, this is, messed up my train of thought over here. Anyway, let's keep moving. Please follow the channel. Thank you, Michael, and share this live stream. Let's keep moving. Thank you, Michael. Now, as we continue to walk around, just remember, thank you, David Doe. Is Dee watching right now, or is that automatic? Is David even watching? Do y'all just see this right here? Is David Doe watching, or is that an automatic, renewal? Thank you, The Real. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Man, let me keep walking. It's like let me slap myself real quick. Let me get back on topic. Let me slap myself real quick. All right. What else do you notice here, y'all? Do you notice any young working professionals in the crowd? Do you notice any young working professionals walking around? It's almost lunchtime. Thank you, Hannah. Do you notice any young working professionals? Thank you, Hannah. This is another thing that China is dealing with that has been very, very well documented by our media back home in America, which is an aging demographics and not enough young people. Now, of course, the society needs people from every age bracket, but let me give you guys some numbers. Last year, for everybody who's watching, China last year in 2023 gave birth to 9.08 million babies. Thank you, Broly and Nerd Girl. 9.08 million babies. Remember this number. It sounds like a big number, right? 9.08 million babies. 10 years ago, that number was 15 million. 7 years ago, that number was 16, 17 million. It is now 9 million. I'm gonna say that again. 10 years ago, the number of babies born here in China was 15 million, 16 million, and that was under a one-child policy. Now in China, you can pretty much have as many kids as you want. 2, 3, you can have as many as you want. Yet, last year, 9 million babies. So this is also why when you have a situation like this, there's a lot of policies, a lot of programs that are happening, because who does that end up impacting? You see, all this birth rate numbers, who does that end up impacting? It doesn't impact Shenzhen. It doesn't impact Guangzhou, because all the young people go to Shenzhen, all the young people, they go to Guangzhou. It doesn't impact Beijing. It doesn't impact Shanghai, because all the young people want to go to Shanghai. All the young people want to go to Shenzhen, want to go to Hong Kong, China for the job opportunities. It impacts places like this. It impacts places that is not as sexy, not as technology driven. No Amazon here, no Alibaba here, no JD here, no Huawei here, no Tencent here. Thank you, Alex. We're halfway to our goal. Does that make sense? You can't feel an aging demographics situation by living in Beijing and Shanghai and Shenzhen, because every young person wants to go to Changsha, every young person wants to go to Guangzhou, every young person wants to go to Hong Kong, China, every young person wants to go to Shenzhen. Well, if all the young people leave, where does that leave middling cities, thank you, Burr, like what you see here in front of you? Does that make sense? So this is why when you think about what's happening in these last couple of years with the aging demographics and also the lack of new babies, there's now a lot of incentives and a lot of policies that have been rolled out to encourage, like, look at these cars right here, dog. Like, I'm telling you guys, I am literally in the 90s, y'all. I'm walking around in the freaking 1990s. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, man. Let's keep walking. Like, as I walk around here, you guys have to realize there's a lot of policies now. There's a lot of policies now that are geared and designed to try and get people to have more. 您好, thank you, Jennifer. To get people to have. 我这鞋子能修吗？我这鞋子有点啊。哦，11点半哦，好，谢谢，好。I just asked him if he could look at my shoe. My shoe's kind of busted. This gentleman that fixes shoes. There's a lot of policies now in place to try to encourage young people to have more babies. They want people to have more kids here. So there's now cash incentives, more time off from work, more maternity leave for mothers. They're giving out cash benefits to try to encourage people to have more babies. Because ultimately, if the birth rate numbers don't go back up, it's cities like this that are gonna feel the brunt of it. Does that make sense? It's cities like this, the middling cities, where so many young people are leaving to go look for jobs elsewhere. This is where they're gonna feel it. So let's keep moving, let's keep exploring, let's keep walking down these neighborhoods. Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Let's keep walking. Now, there's also a lot of people from what I see. Also, you guys would notice this, man. I was talking with my driver about this. You would notice here that I no longer feel as tall as I usually do when I'm walking around in China, when I come to northern China. Northern Chinese people are taller. The numbers back it up. The empirical evidence on the ground also back it up. The people here, whether it's a man or a woman, in general, are bigger, taller. So I no longer feel as tall as when I am in southern China, which is a very interesting thing to think about. Because I can't really explain why, because this place gets so cold in the winter And also economically, it's fallen behind southern China, yet the people here are big. Like, I've noticed this, tall, strong, many of them sturdy. I feel very average here. Some very, very big people, very tall people here. Very, very tall folks here. Anyway, great to see everybody. Great to see everybody on this fine Tuesday morning for me, Monday night for you. We're walking around some neighborhoods, just chilling and exploring downtown Tangshan. Thank you, Cody. We're just walking around. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Cody. Man, thank you, Jennifer. What is that? Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Let's keep walking around. I'm telling you, I thank you, Stephanie. I got back into a hot tub time machine, man. This is definitely a hot tub time machine. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, Live Like No Tomorrow and Stephanie. I got into a hot tub time machine. This is a freaking time machine over here. Look at how quaint this neighborhood looks, man. Come over here. Thank you, Hyo2, man. Good evening, Hyo2. What up, sir? See, the gang's back home all together, man. Oliver's here. Thank you, Mary. I don't know what Oliver doing right now. Maybe he's here. Hyo2 is here. The whole gang is back, man. Come on, man. We need to all come back and love each other. Thank you, Ting Budong. Thank you to Mary, the Real. Everybody back, man. See what I'm saying? Oliver back. Hyo2 is back, man. Thank you, Ting Budong. Thank you, Victoria. Everybody back. Time heals everything. Thank you, H3. Thank you, Lil Jane. Thank you, guys. Who else is here? Kendra said, I'm here. Linda said, I'm here. I see you guys. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Michael, Twillia, Tammy Jones. Thank you, Shayna. Shayna, I know you're here. You've always been here. Thank you, Pepper. I love the photos you sent me. All right, look, let me stand out here for a second because a lot of you guys are not going to be awake when I do my second live stream of the day. A lot of you guys won't be awake for this. So just try to understand average income here. I did not look it up, but I can already tell you probably 4,000 or 5,000 yuan a month, if even that. So $600, maybe $650 a month, $700 a month in this city. Thank you, Jolie and Spicy Texan. But the biggest thing that you could feel in this city as I walk around everywhere, because I have a lot of people who are senior citizens who watch my show. So I want to say this in a way that doesn't sound disrespectful. But it's like, in China, you gotta have an influx of population. You gotta have people moving. That's the same thing back home in America too. You gotta have people moving into your city, especially a lot of young college grads, in order to have a very, very lively city, a very vibrant city. Thank you, Lisa Ann. Because a lot of people who've accomplished a lot in their 40s and 50s, they tend to stay settled in one place, or they find a place to retire. But young people, they generate a lot of economic activity if they come to a city. This is why when you look at cities all over China now, so many cities now have cash incentives for young college grads to come into their city. So they'll offer you a moving stipend. They'll offer you rental assistance. Thank you, Bradley. They'll offer you rental assistance, a cash stipend. They'll offer you, if you get married, they'll give you now. Oh, by the way, this policy just came out yesterday. They're discussing it now. You can get married anywhere in China now. Thank you, DS. Apparently, they're considering a policy now where everywhere you want to get married in China, all you need is an ID. You no longer need your hukou, your registration. You no longer need a bunch of other paperwork. You and your spouse just need to go and bring your ID. You can get married. So they're making it easier for people to get married. They want more marriages. Marriages compared to the same time last year, I think first half of this year, down 15%. People aren't getting married. Now, what else they're doing is that a new policy came out, is being discussed. They're gonna try to make it harder for you to get divorced. This is gonna be a nice one for all the Americans back home to listen to this one. They're gonna try to make it harder for you to get divorced. Nana, thank you. With a policy that's already been in place called a cooling off period, which means if you want to get divorced from your spouse, you can apply for getting a divorce, but you have to wait 30 days before the divorce can go through. It might even be up to 60 days in some areas. I'm not sure if it's 30 or 60 days. Thank you, Nana. During those 30 days, you and your partner can think really hard about whether or not you really want a divorce. And either one of you can withdraw the divorce application. So nowadays, they're making it easier for people to get married and harder for you to get divorced in order to keep families together, in order to encourage people to have kids. The divorce rate here is frighteningly similar to what it is back home in America. Almost half. Almost half of marriages here also end up in a divorce. So this is why, like, when you walk around as much as I do in China, and you guys are seeing it through my screen. Okay, you guys are seeing it through my screen. You guys have to understand it's a frightening level of similarity between what is happening. You see, that is smart, right? The Faulkner, thank you. See, Derek just texted me and said that's smart. I didn't even know Derek was watching. He said that's smart. 30-day cooling off period. If you want to get divorced, let's say the husband or the wife files a divorce application, it can't go through for 30 days. It gives you guys some time to work it out. And then only if after 30, it can't go through for 30 days. It gives you guys some time to work it out. And then only if after 30 days you watch this, a lot of Americans will kind of struggle with this concept because they'll say, like, I think a lot of Americans will struggle with this concept because they'll say, this is a personal matter. This has nothing to do with the government. Why are they interfering with my divorce? Why are they interfering with my family and life decisions? You know what I mean? Thank you, W Blower. Thank you, W Blower. Let's keep walking around. I'm messing up my signal a little bit. Is the signal okay? Thank you, W Blower. Thank you, W Blower. Is the signal okay, everybody? I thought I went kind of red there for a second. Is the signal okay? It is now. Signal okay? Good. Good. Better now. Okay. I'm about to say something I've been meaning to say for the longest time. Okay, because as we walk around here, it's really important. This is something I've been thinking about a lot because we're going to Xinjiang, China within the next 2 months. So we're going to make our grand trip through Xinjiang, China in the next 2 months. And that's obviously the biggest province here in China. It is the largest landmass here in China, followed by Inner Mongolia, which we're also going to go to. I think this key concept for a lot of Americans back home that is really hard for us to swallow as Americans is the concept of how much should be determined by our own self-determination versus how much should be determined by the government. This is a concept that's really hard, even for me as a Chinese American, to really reconcile as well. Because when you think about this concept of a marriage, a divorce, right? You think about the concept of a marriage and divorce, you think about a lot of the other concepts that they have here that we don't really have back home in America. For example, if a Chinese kid is scrolling on Chinese TikTok, on Chinese Douyin, this Chinese kid is not going to see some woman shaking her butt, right? He's going to see museums. He's going to see art. He's going to see history. He's going to see a lot of curated content for the kid, right? But it's like back home in America, we'll ask ourselves, we'll say, well, do I really want them to tell me how to parent, right? Thank you, Mellow Child. So it's almost like when you walk around here, you think it's like Americans feel one way, the Chinese people here feel one way, different systems, different ways of doing things. And when you walk around, it's like, and you see a lot of these things as someone who is a Chinese American, who was born in China, who did grow up in America, you kind of see these things and you're just like, I kind of see the merit in both sides of the argument. Now, when we go to Xinjiang, China, it's going to be even more apparent because that's when you go to Xinjiang, China, thank you, Eileen, it's a place that is very, very controversial back home in America. But I'm still going to go anyway And when you guys kind of see things on the ground and you see the way the Uyghur Chinese people are living, the way they're integrated into society, I think some of you guys will have a different understanding and a different concept based on what CNN and Fox News is telling you guys. So we're gonna keep walking around here. So all that is to say, we're gonna explore a lot of places. But the reason I bring all this up and tell you guys about all these things that happen here in China is I want the Americans back home to just think. Thank you, Anya, because the greatest gift that God can give us as human beings is the ability to think. You don't want to lose that ability to think because of what you're being told by the media. So this is why I kind of tell you what's going on the ground. You can think for yourself. You can think whether or not this is a good thing, right? Whether this is a bad thing. You can think about it for yourself and you come to your own conclusion. The only thing I could do is just tell you what happens here. You know what I mean? So let's keep moving, everybody. Let's keep it moving. Follow the channel and share this live stream. And frankly, I'm going to call a spade, man. These communities here are not very well maintained at all. Right? I am not a China apologist, which means like I just tell you guys the good things about China. I keep it real. These communities are very, very beat up, man. They need some new paint. They need some landscaping. There's grass growing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like these communities here don't look anywhere as neat as a community in Shanghai, a community in Beijing, a community in Shenzhen. This looks totally beat up. You got grass, weeds growing everywhere. You know, a lot of this needs fresh paint. You know what I'm saying? You could just see, like, you could just feel it in the air, this sense of like urban decay that's slowly taking on the city. You know what I mean? Like, and that is the place, once again, I have to emphasize, that's gonna feel the demographic shift the most. Beijing is always gonna be the capital. Shanghai is always going to be the cosmopolitan center of China. Shenzhen is always going to be where the money is. People are always going to want to go to these places. Hong Kong, China is always going to be the financial center. You don't need to worry about those places. But it's places like this where you got to really worry. You have to really worry as I'm walking around, where you just got to say, like, what's the economic opportunity? What are the sources of the jobs here? Right? What's going to bring people here? Where are the people even going to come from? Right? So we're going to keep walking around. Let's keep walking around. Man. My ass is losing my voice, man. Y'all saw this new video I just made yesterday. We got over 30,000 views already, man. You can hear it in my voice in that video, man. My voice is freaking cracked. Because I be speaking so much, 5-6 hours every single day. It's incredible how much I speak every day, and it's taking a toll on my voice. Even my business partner watched that video. She was like, damn. She was like, 我心疼你. She was like, my heart aches for you when she heard my voice. I'm like, damn right, but that's why you better talk to me nice from now on. I was like, girl, you better talk to me nice from now on, because you know how hard I'm working out here. You stop giving me attitude. I was like, all them stories you heard about the girlfriends on the internet that I say on the streams is false. It's false. They all lies. Okay? I was like, you need to get over that and start treating me nice. I said, you got to treat me nice from now on. Let's keep moving, everybody. I said, no more attitude from you, please, Panda. I said, no more attitude. Keep walking. Let's keep it moving. Let's go down this alley over here. And then we're going to go to our next destination. Scott said, good luck. Thank you, Snorlax. Scott said, good luck. Thank you. She said, fake news. It's all fake news, man. It's all fake news. Shit. Thank you, Kansas. Oh, man. Let's keep moving. Oh, man. You can kind of just imagine, though. Let me stand over here out of the sun. You could imagine when this was built. 50, 40 years ago, whenever this was built. You can imagine people coming in and out of this building. Thank you, Jamie, a very vibrant workplace that it used to be. Thank you, RJW and Jamie. You know, while I'm here, since I'm already here, I might as well give you guys a little bit more history. Thank you, Live Like No Tomorrow. Let me give you guys a little bit more history, man. Scott. Appreciate you, Scott. We're more than halfway to our goal. Thank you, Scott. It's like, you think about what happened in the 1990s. When I was a kid growing up in the 90s, one of the biggest phrases that I used to hear on TV was this term called "shagang." This is from the 1990s, which means losing your job. Shagang. In the 1990s, this is for the curious souls who are watching. And I do have a lot of curious souls who watch this channel. In the 1990s, as China was preparing to enter the WTO, the World Trade Organization, which happened in 2001, one of the things that China did, oh shit, my phone was heating up. Let me get in this shade over here. One of the things that China did was to trim a lot of fat and waste from state-owned enterprises here in northern China. This happened in the 1990s. Now, when you guys look at what's going on here, what do I mean by trim the fat and trim the waste? It meant improving efficiency in a lot of these places. What's the word of the day? I'll get to that in a second, Kelly. What I mean by that is, like, you can imagine a company back home in America that's not running very efficiently. I call that Washington, D.C., but that's a conversation for another day. You can imagine a company that's not doing very efficient. It's got a lot of people on the payroll. Its productivity isn't as good as the Western countries or Japan. Everybody's collecting a great salary, but the work product is not as good, okay? It's not as good as a private enterprise. In the 1990s, you would be looking at, this is what you would be looking at. There's actually a factory right back there. You can't really see it. It's being blocked by this building here. That's really what you're looking at. When you go to Dongbei, when you go to Northeast China, they took the brunt. Yes, restructuring is the perfect word. They took the brunt of it. It was like overnight, 2, 3, 4, 5 million jobs disappeared, laid off. And the tough thing about it is, a lot of the folks that were laid off during the 1990s thought that they had a job for life. It was a privilege to be able to work in one of those companies. They would introduce their sons. They would introduce their daughters to work in the same factory, the same company as they do, because that was a job for life, a tiefan one, an iron rice bowl. So when I was a kid, man, I remember growing up in the 90s, man, I turned on the TV, my dad would be watching the news, and I would be listening to this on the news every single day. They'd be saying it every single day on the TV, and I'm listening to this phrase, and it's just stuck in my memory. But the reason I bring it up is also a lot of people who made a fortune in China after the 90s. Some of them were those folks who lost their jobs because they had nowhere to go. They had nothing to do. So they had to go entrepreneurial. So a lot of great Chinese companies that were born after the 90s were actually by the folks who unfortunately lost their jobs. You had one of either two things that could happen. You either sit there and do nothing, or you try to become an entrepreneur and do something with your life and change the direction and feed your family. Thank you, Lori. And that's basically what happened. So all that is, I'm kind of rambling a little bit here. I hope you guys can understand the message I'm trying to give you guys. Thank you, Johanna. This used to be a vibrant city. This used to be a vibrant neighborhood. Much more vibrant than what you're seeing now. Much newer than what you're seeing now. But the country has changed. It's gone from a socialist, command-driven economy, which it still is, to a much more free enterprise-driven economy. And the places that take the brunt of it are cities like this that used to rely on state and government jobs, especially in manufacturing and heavy industry. This is the type of place that's going to take the most brunt of that impact. And then when we go to Dongbei, when we go to Manchuria, you're going to see that as well. So the changing demographics of China cannot be reflected in Shanghai or Beijing, because all you see is vibrancy. All you see is a lot of people from everywhere, people from overseas as well in Shanghai. But it's only when you come out here to this part of China that you could feel the realities of how much this country has changed since I was a young boy. So, all right, let me navigate this with my map. Let's go to our next destination. Sorry for the rambling, guys. Y'all know I like to talk. Y'all know I like to talk, so I apologize about the rambling. Let's keep it moving. Thank you, Derek. Hey, y'all see this bullshit right here? Y'all see Derek's profile photo? Y'all see this profile photo by Derek, man? That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit. The word of the day should be bullshit. Okay, y'all see this new profile photo? Y'all see this new profile photo by Derek? Man, that's some bullshit right here. Okay? Y'all saw that. Y'all saw this. I'm calling the cops. Look at this. I'm calling the cops, man. I'm gonna pin this comment. This is some bullshit. Man, I'm filing a complaint with the city. This is bullshit. Y'all see this? Come on, man. He couldn't find a more handsome face. He couldn't find a more handsome angle. This is the picture he chose. This is slander. Come on, man. This should be a lawsuit. Thank you, Maryland. There's a lawsuit coming, man. Come on, man. I see this right here. Y'all see this? This is slander. Me looking like an idiot. And that's the profile photo he chose. Come on, man. And Derek be clowning, man. That's what he doing, man. He clowning right now. Come on, man. Let's get him out of here. Lawsuit. Let's keep moving. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. So many amazing people showing up. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You think it's hilarious, huh? I don't find it funny. Let's keep moving. All right, let's go to the next place. Let's keep going, y'all. Let's keep going. Follow the channel, share this live stream. Please continue to hit that share button. We're gonna walk towards our next destination. But man, you know what? Let's just chill out a little bit, man. Keep taking in the city for what it is. I appreciate you. Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate you, Corinthia. I appreciate you. Thank you, Kareen. Look at this. Y'all see these right here? I want you to appreciate this building right here. Like, real talk. I want you to appreciate this building right here. Because I could tell right away these buildings are at least 20 years old, maybe even 25 years old, built towards the tail end of the 90s, early 2000s. Because what do you see here? Look at this. Do you see those bars as high as the 15th floor? That serves two purposes. Number one, it gives you some additional space. You can put some flowers on it, and if you got kids, and make sure the kid doesn't fall out. But another thing is theft protection, and make sure that people don't climb into your house and steal. Okay, but you got a lot of purposes. You can put some flower pots on it, make sure the kids climbing around don't have an accident. My question has always been, who the hell is gonna get up to the 15th floor to steal from you? Okay? Spider-Man can't even get up there. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man can't even get up that high. Yeah, King Kong. Huh. That's interesting. You can just tell right away with those bars, that's from the 90s. Late 90s, early 2000s. Let's keep going. You know, this is the other thing is like, you could just feel the pain. You know, this is the other thing is like, you could just feel the pace. We back? All right. Do you see any food delivery drivers, everybody? Do you see that? Do you see anybody from Meituan delivering food here? Do you see that? Do you see any food delivery drivers? Thank you, Dream for Life. You know, I don't see a single one. You see that? Zero. I've noticed if you were in Shenzhen, if you were in Guangzhou, they would be everywhere. Oh, I see one. I finally see one. This dude right here. I finally see one. Dream for Life. If he was in Shanghai or Beijing, they'd be everywhere. All along the streets, they'd be everywhere. But here, I don't see any. I see like one guy. You know, that also goes to show you. What does that tell you? That tells me right away that there's not a lot of young people living here. There's a lot of families living here who tend to cook their own food, who tend to go to grocery stores and buy their own food and don't order as much delivery. There's not a lot of that transient population of people who are like, oh, I need to order some lunch. Oh, I need to order a quick meal. Not nearly as much. You know what I mean? So this is why, this is also another indicator that shows you like this is a very, very, very chill and quiet city. No food rider. Thank you, Lori. Thank you to Rio. Thank you, Nick. Let's keep walking, man. You know, I'm gonna walk in here in the shade a little bit, man. The sun is burning my ass up. My phone is heating up. Walk here for a second. I'm sure I'll be able to get to where I need to go by walking here. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Look at Derek. Derek, you wildin', man. Look at Derek. I never seen that before. I never seen that before. Look at Derek. Look at Derek doing all that. I never seen that before. Have you ever seen that? Have you guys ever seen that before? Appreciate you, Derek, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, Derek, man. I appreciate you. Big O, did you see that? Never seen that before. What are you? Man, I appreciate you, man. Pugs, Derek, Kenneth. Thank you guys, man. I appreciate you. You keeping my profile. Ah, man. Thank you, Steve. We call that restitution. Thank you, Nana and Bree. We call that restitution. That's restitution for keeping my profile. Damn, we can't switch it to a better one. Thank you, Kareem. You know, Derek, the one profile photo you should really do is the profile photo of me struggling to put on that rain poncho at the aircraft carrier. That profile photo is gold. I saw that photo in the Discord channel. Even I had to get a laugh. I tried to put my head through the arm, okay? I tried to put my head through the arm and I ended up looking like an idiot. Okay, thank you, Kareem. And that is the profile photo that you should be using, Derek. It is in the Discord channel. It's me trying to put my head through a poncho's arm and looking like an idiot. Okay? And then somebody made a comment that enraged me. He said, basically said something along to the lines of, imagine this guy is this clumsy with a big ass poncho. Imagine how he is with rubber. I saw that comment. I became so mad. I immediately sprinted up. I jumped up from my chair and I punched the wall. And I punched the wall, y'all. Okay? I punched the wall. I was so upset. I was so upset. Man, thank you, D. Frazier. I can't believe somebody said that in the comment. He said, man, y'all got some dirty minds. He said, if he's this clumsy with a big poncho, imagine how he is with the C word. I was like, man. I'm like, man, that's disrespectful. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's get up out of here. That's disrespectful. Everybody who sent the travel with today, I appreciate you guys so much. Obviously, we do have some big gifters like the Pugs, the Kenneths. There's a lot of people who love the channel, man, who show a lot of love. But I appreciate everybody, man, like Green Eyed, everybody, like just showing love to the channel. LBJ, Joe J, Alex, Tammy, everybody shows love to the channel in different ways, tapping on the screen and sharing. JK always shares this live stream. Spandexy, you know, there's people who watch me from everywhere in China, everywhere in America. The folks here in China, a lot of them can't send gifts because obviously TikTok, sometimes it doesn't connect. A lot of them don't have a PayPal. They don't have a bank account in America. I appreciate you guys just for watching. So it's not just about the viewers who are sending big gifts, who are sending subscriptions. It's just people from everyday walks of life back home in America who support the channel. Pamela, Little Jane, thank you. So I don't want you guys to watch and feel as if like, you know what I'm saying? Just by watching, hopefully you're tapping on the screen and sharing, you're showing the most love to the channel. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. Let's keep moving. Thank you. So there's so many people who watch this. You know, I always get, if I don't go live on time, I always get a lot of messages from people like, when are you going live? When are you going live? When is the next live? And a lot of these usernames I don't even recognize. Thank you. And I try to respond. Thank you, Adam, Eric, and Dez. There's a lot of people out there who watch this show, man, who watch what we do on TikTok and who like what we do. So this is why I go hard. Thank you, BB. Thank you. And I appreciate you. Thank you, Susek. Thank you. All right, let me see if I can get here. Thank you, Joj. Joj, you see, Joj is watching. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, guys. 1.2 kilometers. It's about 1,000 yards. All right, let's keep moving. Thank you, Linda. And look, you know, there's also a lot of people watching back home in America who's watching this from like an American version of this town. Thank you, Alex and Nanny. Thank you, guys. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of you guys watching in America who are watching from an American version of this town. Like, life is not... Thank you, Robin, for becoming a 5-month subscriber. Thank you. Like, not everybody watching lives in the Bronx in New York. Not everybody lives in Manhattan. Not everybody lives in San Francisco. There's people who watch me from somewhere in Missouri. There's people somewhere watching me in Nevada, right? A small town just like this. And your life is amazing. My parents live in North Carolina in a city with less than 50,000 people, and their life is incredible. You know what I mean? Their life is incredible. And I think what it is that I realize about China that's a little bit different from America is, and I'm gonna say this in a very polite and respectful way, okay? I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be as respectful and polite as possible because you guys know that I'm a thinker. So I wanna be very respectful when I say this. I feel like when you are in Shanghai or you're in Beijing or when you're in New York, when you're in San Francisco, life may look very glamorous. You're going out to nice restaurants or you're in a big city with the lights. Life may look very glamorous when you're in New York City or you're in San Francisco or you're in Beijing or you're in Guangzhou. But I feel like the level of happiness there among the people may sometimes be actually a lot lower than when you come out to a place like this. Because even though this place looks kind of beat up, right? Man, thank you, call me Jen. Even though this place looks very, very vintage, it looks kind of beat up, right? It's calm. It's quiet. It's cheap. It doesn't take a lot of money to have a decent life here. Housing is cheap. Rent is cheap. You know what I'm saying? Mortgage is cheap. Housing prices, everything is so much cheaper here. There's less stress and less pressure living here. Thank you, I love. But it's like, here's, I think, the biggest thing that's missing from China compared to America. I'm gonna explain to you guys what I think is the biggest thing that's missing. Okay? Thank you, Moonwatch. Oh, let me make sure I'm going the right way. This way, make a left turn. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna explain to you what I think is the biggest difference. As someone, this is what, once again, this is not government data. This is just based on my own eyes. I think the biggest thing that's missing here in China compared to America is that sometimes you can go to America and you can go to like a pocket of America. Let me give you an example, okay? Like you're in Alabama somewhere, okay? And you go to this lake house. Man, how the hell did we end up here? We were just here like literally an hour ago. We've been walking in circles, y'all. We've been walking in circles. We was just here an hour ago. I'm not getting any closer to my destination. We walking in circles. Thank you, Mooney. Let me keep walking, man. Let me explain this. Walking in circles. It's like, how do I explain this? It's like, because this is an important point I'm making. Let me sit down here and say this. I want you guys to listen to this. It's like when you're in America and you go to Ohio and you drive through many parts of Ohio or many parts of, let's say, North Carolina. A lot of parts of North Carolina, a lot of parts of Ohio is going to look just like this. Any state really back home in America, you're going to have mostly very quiet, very, very, very working class towns just like this. But the thing that I've understood about America that's a little bit different from China, and you guys can let me know in the comments why you think that is that you'll also drive through pockets of like a state. Let's say you drive through a town, a lake town or whatever, where you'll see fabulously beautiful houses. You'll see very, very obvious displays of wealth. Okay? You'll see very, very fabulous displays of wealth in the most random places, like a town. And you ask yourself, it's like, well, there's not a lot of tourism going on. Well, why is this town so wealthy? And here in China, I feel like because of the urbanization, I very rarely see that here in China. It's like when you go to Shanghai, it's fabulously wealthy. When you go to Hangzhou, it's fabulously wealthy. The big cities. When you go to Guangzhou, when you go to Shenzhen, it's wealthy. But it's like when you're just driving through normal parts of China, just like driving on the road, on the highway, when you're on a high-speed rail, you don't see that nearly as much as what you would see back home in America. To me, like you have like wherever it is you are, I'm pretty sure you have it. Wherever it is you are in America, thank you, Chen Mo. If you're just driving through Mississippi somewhere, if you're driving through Missouri somewhere, next time find a very, very vibrant and wealthy town. And you're just like, wow, I wonder what the folks here do to afford such nice homes. But it's like when you're walking around in China, you can see like so much of the wealth is concentrated along the coast and in these large cities. It's very rare for me to go into a village and say, wow, this place is fabulously wealthy. It is just, I could see vibrancy, I could see boats, I could see nice cars everywhere. I just don't really see that here. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably the biggest difference when I travel around here in China. And it's also probably the biggest opportunity for their growth, is that because this is a developing country, there's just more places for this country to grow. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if I was able to convey that clearly for everybody who's watching. I just feel like there's more room for growth here in China in the non-Beijing, non-Shanghai, non-Hong Kong, non-Shenzhen parts of China. There's more room for growth. This is why I'm very, very optimistic about this country, because I feel like when you look at the economy, a lot of people are very pessimistic about the economy now. I'm actually very optimistic about the economy because there's just more room for growth. And if you look at America, it's probably very close to an end state of where this place is going to be, which is very vibrant cities with a lot of people, but also very, very large concentrations, thank you, Plant Groove, of wealth in just other areas of the country. Does that make sense, everybody? So it's like, hopefully you guys understood what I'm saying. You're never going to understand the difference between China and America by going to just Beijing and Shanghai. Because your ass is staying at the Grand Hyatt, you go into Disneyland in Shanghai, then you go to Universal Studios in Beijing, and then you go home on a Boeing 747. You're never going to understand the difference between China and America by going to Beijing and Shanghai. But when you come out to other areas is when I think you're going to see some of the stark differences by how much this country has room for economic growth. I'm very optimistic. I'm very bullish. I'm very, very bullish on this country, which is why I'm living here. I think this country has a lot of beautiful room for growth. It's got a lot of beautiful room for growth. Very, very optimistic, but they got a lot of problems they need to solve. So, and that's what they're working on. You know what I mean? So like, I'm gonna say one more thing before we keep it moving to our ultimate destination. you guys have to try to understand one more thing. Thank you, Plant Groove. Is I think a lot of times back home in America, and this is for all the Americans that are watching. Thank you, Plant Groove. Plant Groove is Chinese. He lives in Guangdong province. He's the one that sent me the mosquito repellent. Thank you, Plant Groove. I think there's one more message I have for all the Americans that are watching this back home. Thank you, Lisa D. I think a lot of Americans back home have this concept. We think that China is obsessed with us and they're looking for ways to beat us. They're looking for ways to be number one, to be better than us. And that's probably true to a certain extent. But as an American living here in China, I've kind of realized that the Chinese people here are far more concerned about what goes on in their country, China, than what goes on in our country, America. Does that make sense? It's like when you open the news, you don't see nearly as much news about what goes on in other parts of the world. Most of the news is domestic. Like all the things that I talked about, the birth rates, you know what I'm saying? The college kids that need jobs. They got so many issues here that they need to fix. They are not always thinking about America. They're not always thinking about Americans. They're not thinking about our election. They're not thinking about our issues back home nearly as much as we think they do. You know what I mean? It's like because the news is always going to make it, CNN and Fox News always going to make it sound like, oh man, they trying to interfere in our election. They trying to interfere in our democracy. They trying to interfere in our way of life. Believe me, they're not. They got a lot of things they need to worry about here in their own life. Our election is like the last thing on their mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, man. Our election is like literally the last thing on their mind. They're not worried about us. They're worried about what's going on in their own country. Does that make sense? So this is kind of like a misconception for a lot of... This dude just came here. I see this right here, man. I'm literally sitting here. This lady just pulled up right next to me and started smoking. I'm literally sitting here trying to have a conversation with you guys. The lady just stood right next to me and started smoking. I'm gonna find this curb over here, man. Y'all see this shit right here? I see this shit right here. The fuck? All those places she could have gone, she just stood right next to me. I see this right here, man. Come on, man. Anyway, let me finish with my thought here, though, and then we're gonna keep walking. And this is a core concept Americans gotta really understand back home. Really important for you guys to understand.